Hey now everyone, it's Steve Severs for Bionic Buzz. This is my first time here in Austin, Texas for Southwest by Southwest. The conference has everything: film, music, interactive, tech. I love it. All my passions here together. Now before we get started, please help us out by liking, subscribing, and sharing. Now let's go see who we can talk to.
The director of Hung Up on a Dream, Robert Schwartzman.
Thank you. So it's time to bring the zombies on stage.
Woo!
Ron, Colin, Chris, Peter, please come up. Work your way.
My gosh, where to begin? I'm standing here with the zombies. I'm going to begin with you, Robert. I have a question. If you could take us back to the beginning, what was your inspiration? What made you think, I want to make the definitive history of the zombies? And then, what were those conversations like when he came to you guys and said, I want to tell your story from the beginning and right now?
Well, so Rick Crim is here, and he's one of the executive producers. And, Rick used to run VH1, and he's been in the music industry a long time, and he's an amazingly passionate, genuine supporter of music. And I told him if I could make, my dream documentary to make would be the Zombies documentary. And he's like, well, I think I might know somebody that knows the people. I know the band, and maybe we could help create that moment. So I got to Zoom with Colin and Rod during the pandemic, and they were open to hearing me out on an idea to make this film. But really what I wanted to express, and I'm such a big Zombies fan, and I love this band, so it's really emotional watching the movie. There's so much going on in this story, so it's such a great experience to watch it together. But I wanted to tell a story that really sort of, could support and be in harmony with the great music that they made. They've made such great music. They're leaving behind such a great catalog, and every day it's growing, and they're still performing for audiences. So the movie had to really complement what they've created musically, and that was the hope. So you try the best you can when you make a movie. And I said to Rod, I think the biggest takeaway for me, my biggest hope was that they liked the movie, because it's scary to put yourself out there and tell your story after all these years. So my hope was can we start there, and if you guys like it, mission accomplished. But anyway, that was my perspective was, this story has to be told. The band is too amazing, and there's so much there that we need to learn and know more about. We know the songs, but if we can dive deeper, there's something more there, emotional, important, that we need to connect to and understand.
When Robert made that phone call, first of all, I really had my doubts, because as you saw in the movie, we weren't managed very well at the beginning, and that led to us never having very much archive covering material that was kept, and that was looked at and was made to work. And I was saying all this to him, and Robert said, I really think there's a way of doing this, and I cannot believe the stuff that you found. It was absolutely unbelievable. And I found it, I was scared to watch it, first of all, when the cut came. But
it was I.
but when I did, I thought, my goodness, he's made such a great movie. It's a beautiful story. It's amusing and fascinating, and the pacing of it felt so good as a story. All of us having lived through all that, it really felt like a beautiful resume, particularly of the stuff, leading up to Odessey and Oracle, but also later, touching on the stuff later as well. And I've had these conversations with Robert, and he really agrees with me, that we believe so much, as we said in the movie, of doing things for real, and sticking to what you want to do in life, and being true to yourself. And I'm sure that's exactly what Robert does. And he's made a really beautiful film, I think, and I was really moved after you saw it.
I've watched this movie now. This is my 4th time. I have to tell you, it's made me tear up every time. It still is, you can hear that now. Well, what a wonderful legacy that dear Robert here has left for us, and to remain for us now and in the future. And I can't thank you enough. Thank you. Also, very quickly, I look at the early stuff there and I think, really, was that me? Or was it some other universe? And then I think, oh, actually, it was.
I'm going to throw it right out to the audience because I know there are questions. Right there, sir.
I want to say to you, Robert, the humor, heart, and pathos that you captured in this film is extraordinary. And it's just amazing. And I like you, am verklempt about it. But what I want to know is, are we going to get a soundtrack album out of this? Because there was so much great music, it would be an amazing thing.
The people back there hear a comment? He was saying, one, just commenting on this, complimenting you on the heart and the passion that you brought to this project and telling this story. But what he really wants to know, what we all want to know, is there going to be a soundtrack?
Yeah, I hope. There definitely. That'll be. Thank you for shouting that out, and it would be awesome to be able to put out more around the film. You know, more pieces of it. It's more than just a movie. There's so much going. There's a layer of music that you can all leave here and listen to all these songs. So, yeah.
Another question? Right there.
Regarding Get Back, Peter Jackson, and your documentary, was your documentary, you already have your arc set and ideas of what you're going to try to accomplish in the story you're going to try to tell? Or was it informed, did you watch Get Back? And I saw the pathos, you're mentioning pathos. It just, really struck me with a whole lot of pathos. I saw some of those notes of pathos, but you also had a lot of light and prettiness to it and sparkliness to it. And I just like to hear if you had any influence or discussions with Peter Jackson and how it may have changed the creative track of your project.
The question was, one, just kind of drawing a parallel between Peter Jackson's reworking of Get Back recently with the Beatles, but then also I think talking about, how much of this story, did you know all the twists and the turns and the stories you were going to hear when you started working on this film, or how much did you learn and discover as you through the process of making it?
Thank you for the question. I don't know Peter Jackson, but he's awesome. And that is he made a great series. Well, I have to shout out Meryl Goodwin, who's here. He's our editor. So much, and Joe Carroll, who were so dedicated for so long and really pulling pieces out and trying to shape it, and for so long. So it was a real, so much is done in the edit, as people who make docs might know here. The ranch team is here from Texas, and this is our hometown. But I think that there's so much you learn as you just start doing it. It's like being in a band. You just figure it out as you play together. And when you play shows, you start to really hone it in and figure out who you are. And when you make a movie, you start to, it's like rehearsing and jamming, and you figure it out as you go. But we started with the interview and just talking about process, but definitely these guys should do all the talking. But the process was starting with an anchor interview in New York. We recreated the She's Not There set. If anybody picked that out, that was the set from She's Not There. We tried to recreate it, the music video that they had. And we shot those sort of anchor interviews, and that was really sort of set the foundation of understanding the full story. And then we went to England and went to Abbey Road and got to shoot with Chris and Hugh and Lucy Atkinson. And there were just pieces coming in. You start to kind of learn so much more as you get more interviews. It opens up new things to sort of chase, a new story. It's like choose your own adventure, you follow a new thread. And then the real trick is how do you make it a digestible feature so that, you know, we're all here, we can sit and watch this film together and hopefully we're engaged. So there's a lot of, over 60 years of story. So it's, you know, you have to figure out a way to put it in a feature. But yeah, you know, it's shaping it. We talked about it. It's like sound waves are shapes, and you find the movement of it, you find the rhythm of it.
And during those interviews, I mean, was Robert bringing things up that was sparking memories and bringing things up that you hadn't thought about in years?
Well, absolutely. We can't hear Robert's voice, but certainly when he was talking to me, I was answering direct questions, and he's a very interesting interviewer, and he brought up lots of things that I haven't thought about ever. And he got me to talk about things I never ever thought I would speak about on camera. So I mean, he you know, he is a very good, very gentle interviewer, but he gets you to speak very freely, and I think that's a wonderful gift. I think it's a wonderful gift. And an awful lot of that film is just Robert talking to us and us reacting in a really informal, friendly way. And I hope it shows, because that's what it was like. It was fun. It was bloody fun. and that's all down to Robert. He made it fun for us.
Time for a couple more questions. I want to make sure I'm not ignoring anyone. Up top, right there.
Well done, Robert, and thank you, gentlemen. Just want to extend an invite next Saturday when you're in San Antonio. Come to us here before the show. We'd love to treat you to happy hour. See you there.
That's a shame. Dear Chris and I are going home just a little bit before that. Rats.
You owe them
our address.
Right down here.
Any chance of another Odessey and Oracle tour?
I think we're getting well past it now. Really.
Yeah, I think it's probably unlikely, because we did a 40th anniversary in 2008. I've got to use my maths here. We did a 50th anniversary, and presumably it was in 2018.
Yeah. Paramount.
This is speaking as an insurance man, you know. I really can't. But I think that will probably be it for Odessey.
Never say never. Never say never.
Never say never.
But I think it's wonderful that people have made Odessey and Oracle have such a long life. I mean, that is absolutely wonderful, and that they want to continue celebrating it. But we gave a whole year at one point. I mean, when we did it in 2008, Paul Weller came along. He's one of the biggest stars in the UK and has been for many, many years. And our manager came back, and we didn't know if we could make this work at all. And he said, "Oh, Paul Weller's in the line outside in the rain." And I said, "Well, get him in, for God's sake." And he came in, and he bought tickets for all 3 nights, because, as Robert said, as we were saying in the film, one night turned into 3. He bought us magnums of champagne. He was really showing a lot of love, which was fantastic. He thought it was great. He said, I've had a ball over the last 3 nights. He said, but it's wonderful that you're doing it. He said, but don't keep on doing it. And I think he's absolutely right, because we've never looked back in our lives, actually. I mean, as you can see by the fact that when we were actually offered $1 million, can you imagine how much that was when we hadn't been given any money? In 1969, when Time the Season was a hit, we turned it down because we were looking forward. And that wasn't because we're sort of wonderfully principled or anything. It was just that we get our joy from trying to move forward and create, and again, being true to yourself, because you've only got one life, and when you get to the end of it, you want to look back and say, well, I might not have got everything right, but I've done the best I can, So we thought that giving a whole year to Odessey and Oracle and doing nothing else live. And we had a ball doing that, didn't we?
Did absolutely that. And the most important thing is to do new things and encourage other people, as we were encouraged hearing all new music ourselves when we were younger. But it's a long time. But that was 1960. When was it? 67 when we recorded it.
We recorded it in 67, yeah.
I would back Chris on that by saying that we had the most wonderful time coming to the States a couple of times doing it, and then we had the tour with Brian Wilson and his band and one thing and another, and it was fantastic.
I think I speak for everyone here. Well, whether you want to give us new music, old music, music in a documentary, we will take it. Thank you so much for being here.